Hi, my name is Chris. Welcome to my video about Mercury Retrograde, September 2025. These zodiac signs should never make major decisions. The cosmic winds are already beginning to shift as we approach one of the most significant astrological events of 2025, when Mercury, the swift messenger planet that governs communication, technology, travel, and contracts, prepares to station retrograde from September 7th through September 29th. Whoosh! This particular retrograde cycle occurs entirely within the analytical sign of Virgo, creating an especially potent atmosphere for miscommunication, technological mishaps, and decision-making disasters that could reverberate through the rest of the year and beyond. In the vast celestial theater above us, Mercury appears to slow its orbital dance, seemingly moving backward through the zodiac from our earthly perspective. Though this is merely an optical illusion created by the relative positions and speeds of Earth and Mercury in their solar orbits. Yet despite being an illusion, the effects of Mercury retrograde are very real and have been documented by astrologers for thousands of years, dating back to ancient Babylonian astronomers who first noticed these peculiar planetary movements and their correlations with earthly events. During this September 2025 retrograde period, the universe whispers warnings particularly loudly to certain zodiac signs, urging them to pause, reflect, and absolutely avoid making life-altering decisions that could lead them down paths of regret and confusion. The energy of Virgo, with its meticulous attention to detail and perfectionist tendencies, becomes scrambled and unreliable during this retrograde, turning normally clear, thinking individuals into confused souls wandering through a fog of uncertainty. Let me paint you a picture of what the cosmic realm looks like during this time. Imagine standing in a vast observatory made of stardust and cosmic energy where the planets move like grand celestial clockwork. As September approaches, you would see Mercury, that quicksilver sphere of communication and thought, beginning to slow its usual swift journey around the sun. The planet seems to hesitate, like a dancer forgetting their steps mid-performance before appearing to reverse direction entirely. This cosmic ballet affects the invisible threads of energy that connect all living beings to the planetary influences above. And some zodiac signs find these threads becoming tangled in ways that cloud their judgment profoundly. Gemini, the sign ruled by Mercury itself, faces perhaps the most intense challenges during this September 2025 retrograde. As Mercury's own children in the zodiac, Geminis typically excel at communication, quick thinking, and adaptability. However, when their ruling planet goes retrograde, it's as if their internal compass starts spinning wildly, pointing in all directions at once. During this period, Geminis may find themselves second, guessing every thought, every word, and every instinct that normally guides them so reliably through life. Picture a Gemini during this time as a skilled navigator, suddenly finding all their instruments malfunctioning simultaneously. The mental clarity they usually possess becomes clouded with doubt and confusion. Simple conversations turn into complex misunderstandings, and their usually reliable intuition seems to lead them astray. This is absolutely not the time for a Gemini to sign important contracts, accept new job offers, make investment decisions, or commit to long-term relationships. The retrograde energy specifically scrambles their decision-making abilities, making choices that seem brilliant in the moment, but reveal themselves as mistakes once Mercury stations direct again. The cosmic interference extends deeply into their personal relationships as well. Geminis might find themselves revisiting past relationships during this time, with ex-partners suddenly reappearing like ghosts from another dimension. While it might seem like fate or destiny bringing these people back, it's merely the retrograde's trick of making the past seem more appealing than the future. Any decisions to reunite with former lovers or rekindle old friendships during this period are likely to dissolve once the retrograde fog lifts, leaving Geminis wondering what they were thinking. Virgo, the sign hosting this retrograde, experiences a different but equally intense form of cosmic chaos. As Mercury retrogrades through their own sign, Virgos find their usually impeccable judgment and analytical abilities turned inside out. It's as if they're trying to solve puzzles while looking through a kaleidoscope, where every turn creates a new, confusing pattern that makes no logical sense. Their perfectionist nature becomes their worst enemy during this time, as they obsess over details that don't matter while missing crucial, big picture elements entirely. The September 2025 retrograde particularly affects Virgos' health and daily routine decisions. This is absolutely not the time for Virgos to start new health regimens, undergo elective medical procedures, or make significant changes to their daily habits. The retrograde energy can cause them to misinterpret their body's signals, leading to unnecessary worry about minor issues while potentially overlooking actual concerns that need attention. Career decisions are equally treacherous during this period, as Virgos might feel an overwhelming urge to quit their jobs, reorganize their entire work life, or take on responsibilities they're not truly prepared to handle. In the mystical realm where planetary energies converge, you can visualize Virgo's normally organized mental landscape as a perfectly arranged library suddenly hit by a cosmic windstorm, with books flying off shelves, pages scattering, and the careful cataloging system completely disrupted. This is why major decisions made during this time often need to be completely reversed or reworked once Mercury goes direct, causing Virgos additional stress and self-criticism that could have been avoided by simply waiting. Pisces, standing opposite Virgo on the Zodiac wheel, faces the retrograde's effects through the lens of opposition, creating a unique form of cosmic tension. The dreamy, intuitive nature of Pisces becomes even more nebulous during this period, like trying to navigate through an underwater maze where every direction looks the same and nothing is quite what it seems. Their natural psychic abilities, usually a strength, become unreliable during the September 2025 retrograde, picking up static and interference from the cosmic disruption rather than clear, intuitive signals. For Pisces, this retrograde particularly affects relationship decisions and creative pursuits. The opposition aspect creates a push-pull dynamic where Pisces might feel torn between practical considerations and emotional desires, unable to find the balance point that usually comes naturally to them. Starting new romantic relationships during this time is like building castles on quicksand, beautiful in the moment, but destined to sink and disappear. Creative projects begun under this influence often lack the magical quality Pisces usually brings to their work, requiring complete overhauls once the retrograde passes. The cosmic waters that Pisces swims through become murky and turbulent during this period, filled with mirages and illusions that can lead them far from their true path. Financial decisions are particularly dangerous for Pisces during the September 2025 retrograde, as their already tenuous relationship with practical matters becomes even more challenged. Investments made, loans taken, or major purchases completed during this time often prove to be based on incomplete information or emotional impulses rather than sound judgment. Sagittarius, the adventurous fire sign, faces Mercury retrograde's challenges through a square aspect, creating friction and obstacles in their usually smooth journey through life. The archer, who normally aims true, finds their arrows flying in unexpected directions, missing targets. The September 2025 retrograde specifically challenges their areas of career, public reputation, and higher education, making this an absolutely terrible time for Sagittarians to make decisions about graduate school, international travel, or career changes. Imagine a Sagittarian during this retrograde as an explorer whose compass points to true north one moment and spins wildly the next, whose maps suddenly show territories that don't exist while hiding the actual paths they need to follow. Their natural optimism, usually a strength, becomes a liability, as they might overlook obvious warning signs and red flags, convinced that everything will work out when in reality, they're heading towards significant complications. The retrograde affects Sagittarius's judgment about risk and expansion, particularly severely. Business ventures launched, partnerships formed, or educational programs begun during this period often fail to deliver the growth and opportunity Sagittarius expects. Legal matters are especially problematic, as the combination of Mercury retrograde in Virgo and its square to Sagittarius creates a perfect storm of miscommunication, missing documents, and misunderstood agreements that can have long-lasting consequences. Beyond these four most affected signs, the September 2025 Mercury retrograde casts its shadow across the entire zodiac, though with varying intensity. The cosmic disruption ripples through the fabric of reality like waves in a cosmic ocean, affecting different signs in different ways, but leaving none completely untouched. The key to navigating this period lies not in trying to push forward against the retrograde current, but in learning to flow with it, using the time for review, reflection, and revision rather than initiation. The ancient wisdom keepers understood that Mercury retrograde periods serve a vital cosmic purpose, forcing humanity to slow down, reconsider, and reconnect with aspects of life that get overlooked in our forward, rushing world. The September 2025 retrograde, occurring entirely in Virgo, specifically asks us to review our health habits, work routines, and service to others. It's a time when the universe itself seems to hit the pause button, giving us an opportunity to catch up with ourselves and correct course before moving forward again. During this retrograde period, the veil between dimensions becomes thinner in certain ways, allowing glimpses of alternate timelines and possibilities. Some people report experiencing déjà vu more frequently, having prophetic dreams that seem to show potential futures, or feeling like they're living in multiple realities simultaneously. These experiences, while fascinating, can add to the confusion and make clear decision-making even more challenging for the affected zodiac signs. The technological disruptions that Mercury retrograde is famous for take on particular significance in our modern world. During the September 2025 retrograde, we can expect increased incidents of computer crashes, software glitches, lost emails, and miscommunicated digital messages. For the heavily affected signs, these technological hiccups can have serious consequences if major decisions are made based on digital communications or online. Research conducted during this period. Important emails might never arrive. Crucial documents could become corrupted, and video calls might suffer from delays and misunderstandings that completely change the meaning of conversations. The retrograde's influence extends into the dream realm as well, where the affected zodiac signs might experience particularly vivid, confusing, or misleading dreams that seem to offer guidance but actually lead them astray. The symbolic language of dreams becomes scrambled during Mercury retrograde, like trying to read a book where the words keep rearranging themselves on the page. Dreams about making major life changes, receiving important messages, or meeting significant people should be viewed with extreme skepticism during this period, especially for Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. In the realm of relationships, the September 2025 Mercury retrograde creates a particular type of chaos that affects not just romantic partnerships, but all forms of human connection. Old friends might resurface with complicated requests or unresolved conflicts. Family members might misunderstand important communications, leading to unnecessary drama. And new acquaintances met during this period often turn out to be very different from first impressions once the retrograde clears. The affected signs should be particularly cautious about making commitments to others during this time, whether personal or professional, as the foundations of these agreements are likely built on misunderstandings and false assumptions. The financial realm becomes a treacherous landscape during this retrograde period, filled with hidden pitfalls and mirages of opportunity that dissolve upon closer inspection. Investment opportunities that seem golden during the retrograde often reveal themselves as fool's gold once Mercury stations direct. The affected signs might find themselves attracted to get-rich-quick schemes, unusual investment strategies, or financial advisors who promise unrealistic returns. The combination of Mercury retrograde in analytical Virgo creates a perfect storm where normally intelligent people can make surprisingly poor financial decisions, convinced they've discovered some secret that others have missed. Travel plans made or executed during the September 2025 retrograde are particularly prone to complications, delays, and unexpected changes. For the affected zodiac signs, this is absolutely not the time to book important trips, especially those related to business, education, or major life events. Flights get cancelled, reservations disappear, luggage goes missing, and carefully planned itineraries fall apart like houses of cards. Even routine commutes can become adventures in frustration, with unusual traffic patterns, transportation breakdowns, and navigation errors leading people far from their intended destinations. The health sector requires special attention during this retrograde period, particularly given its occurrence in health-conscious Virgo. Medical test results might be inaccurate or misinterpreted. Symptoms could be misdiagnosed, and treatment plans developed during this time often need significant adjustment once the retrograde passes. The affected signs should postpone elective procedures, avoid starting new medications unless absolutely necessary, and be extremely cautious about alternative health treatments that promise miraculous results. The retrograde can make snake oil seem like medicine and medicine seem like poison, completely scrambling our ability to accurately assess what our bodies need. Educational decisions face similar challenges during the September 2025 retrograde. Choosing schools, selecting majors, enrolling in courses, or making any significant educational commitments during this period is like trying to read a map in a hall of mirrors. Where every direction seems to lead somewhere different than expected. The affected signs might find themselves attracted to educational programs that don't actually serve their long-term goals. Teachers who aren't what they seem, or fields of study that lose their appeal once the retrograde fog lifts. The creative realm, usually a sanctuary for many, becomes a maze of false starts and misdirected inspiration during this retrograde. Artists might find themselves working on projects that never quite come together. Musicians might write songs that sound brilliant in the moment, but terrible in retrospect. And writers might produce work that needs complete revision once Mercury goes direct. The affected signs should view this period as a time for sketching and experimentation rather than final production, understanding that their creative judgment is temporarily compromised by the cosmic static. In the professional sphere, the September 2025 Mercury retrograde creates a minefield of potential career mistakes for the affected signs. Job interviews go poorly due to miscommunication. Resumes. Promotions offered during this period often come with hidden drawbacks or responsibilities that weren't clearly communicated. Starting new jobs during the retrograde frequently leads to situations where the actual position bears little resemblance to what was promised or expected. The retrograde also affects our relationship with time itself, making some days feel like weeks, while weeks flash by in what seems like moments. This temporal distortion particularly affects the impacted zodiac signs, who might find themselves consistently late or early, unable to accurately gauge how long tasks will take, or feeling like they're living in a different time zone from everyone else. Deadlines become especially problematic, as the affected signs might completely misunderstand when things are due or how much time they have to complete important tasks. The legal realm becomes particularly treacherous during the September 2025 retrograde. Contracts signed, lawsuits filed, or legal agreements made during this period often contain hidden clauses, misunderstood terms, or unexpected consequences that only become apparent later. The affected signs should absolutely avoid making any major legal decisions during this time, as the combination of Mercury retrograde and Virgo's detail-oriented nature creates a situation where important details are simultaneously obsessed over and completely missed. Even seemingly minor decisions can have major consequences during this retrograde period. Choosing a new phone plan might lock you into an unsuitable contract. Selecting a new apartment could reveal hidden problems after signing the lease, and even decisions about haircuts or wardrobe changes might lead to regret once the retrograde passes. The affected signs need to understand that their decision-making apparatus is temporarily offline, like a computer running in safe mode, where only basic functions are available. The spiritual realm offers both challenges and opportunities during the September 2025 retrograde. While this isn't the time for making major spiritual commitments or dramatically changing one's practice, it can be an excellent period for reviewing and reflecting on one's spiritual journey. The affected signs might find that meditation becomes more difficult, with the mind more scattered than usual. Illusion of control. Past life memories and karmic patterns often surface during Mercury retrograde periods, particularly for the affected signs. These emerging memories and patterns can provide valuable insights, but should not be the basis for major life decisions during the retrograde itself. It's like looking at old photographs through warped glass, where you can see the general shapes and forms, but the details are distorted and unreliable. The September 2025 retrograde also affects our relationship with truth and lies, making it harder to distinguish between the two. The affected signs might find themselves more susceptible to deception, whether from others or through self-delusion. Conspiracy theories might seem more plausible, unlikely scenarios might appear probable, and obvious truths might be questioned unnecessarily. This is not the time for the affected signs to make decisions based on new information, as their ability to evaluate credibility is severely compromised. The retrograde's influence on memory is particularly noteworthy. with the affected signs experiencing both unusual forgetfulness and the sudden emergence of long, buried memories. Important appointments might be completely forgotten, while trivial events from decades ago suddenly seem vitally important. This memory scrambling makes it especially important for the affected signs to write everything down, double-check all appointments, and not trust their recall of important conversations or agreements. As we navigate through this cosmic storm, it's important to remember that Mercury retrograde isn't punishing us, but rather offering us an opportunity to slow down and reconsider our paths. The September 2025 retrograde, with its complete occurrence in Virgo, specifically asks us to review our daily habits, health practices, and service to others. For the affected signs, this period of forced reflection, while frustrating in the moment, often leads to valuable insights and course corrections that wouldn't have happened otherwise. The ancient astrologers understood that the planets don't control our fate, but rather reflect the cosmic rhythms that influence all life. Mercury retrograde is like a cosmic speed bump, forcing us to slow down whether we want to or not. For Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius, the key to successfully navigating this period lies in acceptance and adaptation rather than resistance. The affected signs need to understand that this is a time for reviewing, revising, and reflecting rather than initiating, deciding, or committing. It's like being asked to edit a book rather than write a new one, to maintain a garden rather than plant new seeds, to repair and restore rather than build anew. As the retrograde period progresses from September 7th through September 29th, 2025, the energy will shift and change with particular intensity around the station points when Mercury appears to stop and change direction. These station points, at the beginning and end of the retrograde period, are especially potent times when the affected signs should be extra cautious about making any decisions at all, as the cosmic energy is at its most unstable and unpredictable. The shadow period, which extends before and after the actual retrograde dates, also deserves attention. Mercury enters its shadow on August 20th, 2025, and doesn't fully clear it until October 15th, 2025. During these shadow periods, the effects of the retrograde are already beginning or still lingering, making the entire period from late August through mid-October a time when the affected signs should exercise extreme caution with major decisions. It's worth noting that not all decisions can be postponed, and life doesn't stop during Mercury retrograde. For the affected signs, who absolutely must make important decisions during this period, the key is to triple-check everything, get multiple opinions, read all fine print carefully, and build in flexibility for later adjustments. Consider any decisions made during this time as provisional, subject to review and revision once the retrograde passes. The September 2025 Mercury retrograde also offers unique opportunities for the affected signs, particularly in areas of revision and reconnection. This is an excellent time to revisit abandoned projects, reconnect with old friends, or review and revise existing plans and strategies. The retrograde energy supports looking backward and inward rather than forward and outward, making it ideal for therapy, journaling, and self-reflection. For those involved with the affected signs, patience and understanding are crucial during this period. Recognize that your Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius friends and family members are navigating through cosmic fog and may not be thinking clearly. Avoid pressuring them to make decisions. Be patient with miscommunications and offer support without trying to push them in any particular direction. The business world needs to be particularly aware of the September 2025 retrograde's effects, especially when dealing with employees or partners born under the affected signs. Important negotiations, contract signings, and strategic decisions involving these individuals should be postponed if possible, as their judgment is temporarily impaired by the cosmic influence. Companies heavily staffed with these signs might want to build in extra review processes and delay major initiatives until after the retrograde passes. The retrograde also affects collective decision-making, with groups containing multiple affected signs finding it nearly impossible to reach consensus or make sound collective choices. Board meetings, team decisions, and group projects involving Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius individuals are likely to be exercises in confusion and miscommunication during this period. As we look at the broader cosmic picture, the September 2025 Mercury retrograde is part of a larger pattern of planetary movements and influences. Other planetary positions during this period will either amplify or moderate the retrograde's effects, creating a complex tapestry of cosmic influences that experienced astrologers can read like a cosmic weather map. The affected signs need to pay attention not just to Mercury, but to the entire planetary picture to fully understand the energies at play. The numerological significance of 2025 adds another layer to consider, as the number 9, 2 plus 1, 2 plus 5 represents completion and wisdom. This suggests that the September 2025 retrograde might be particularly focused on completing old business and gaining wisdom from past experiences, rather than starting new ventures. For the affected signs, this numerical influence reinforces the message to look backward before moving forward. The intersection of Mercury retrograde with other cosmic cycles, such as lunar phases and eclipse seasons, creates periods of intensified energy where the effects on the affected signs become even more pronounced. The new and full moons during the September 2025 retrograde period deserve special attention, as these lunar events can trigger emotional responses that cloud judgment even further for the already affected signs. Cultural and societal factors also play a role in how Mercury retrograde affects different people. In our hyper-connected, fast-paced modern world, the disruptions caused by Mercury retrograde can have more far-reaching consequences than in simpler times. The affected signs living in urban environments might find the retrograde effects amplified by the complexity of city life. while those in rural areas might experience different but equally significant challenges. The global nature of modern business and communication means that Mercury retrograde effects can ripple across time zones and cultures, creating complex chains of miscommunication and misunderstanding. For the affected signs involved in international business or cross-cultural relationships, the September 2025 retrograde presents particular challenges that require extra sensitivity and patience. As we approach the end of this cosmic journey through the September 2025 Mercury retrograde, it's important to remember that this too shall pass. Mercury will station direct on September 29th, and gradually the fog will lift, clarity will return, and the affected signs will regain their normal decision-making abilities. However, the lessons learned during the retrograde period, the insights gained through forced reflection, and the patience developed through navigating confusion can provide lasting benefits. The affected signs should mark their calendars and plan accordingly, treating the September 2025 retrograde period as a cosmic sabbatical from major decision-making. This is a time to rest, reflect, and prepare for the forward movement that will come once Mercury resumes its direct motion. By respecting the cosmic rhythms and working with, rather than against, the retrograde energy, even the most affected signs can navigate this period successfully. In conclusion, the September 2025 Mercury retrograde in Virgo presents significant challenges for Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius, making it absolutely crucial that these signs avoid major decisions during this period. The cosmic disruption affects their judgment, communication, and intuition in ways that can lead to serious mistakes with long-lasting consequences. By understanding and respecting these cosmic influences, the affected signs can use this period for valuable reflection and revision rather than costly mistakes. And regrettable decisions. Remember, the stars incline, but do not compel, and free will always plays a role in our destinies. However, swimming against a strong cosmic current requires enormous effort and often leads to exhaustion and failure. The wise approach for the affected signs is to float with the retrograde current, using this time for inner work and preparation, saving major decisions and new initiatives for when the cosmic weather is more favorable. The September 2025 Mercury retrograde ultimately serves as a reminder of our connection to the cosmos and the importance of timing in all endeavors. For Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius, this period offers a masterclass in patience, reflection, and the art of knowing when not to act. By heeding the cosmic warning and avoiding major decisions during this time, these signs can emerge from the retrograde period stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the opportunities that await once Mercury resumes its direct motion through the heavens. as we close this exploration of the September 2025 Mercury Retrograde. Remember that astrology is both an art and a science, offering guidance and insight while always leaving room for individual choice and growth. The affected signs have been warned, the cosmic weather forecast has been delivered, and now it's up to each individual to decide how to navigate these challenging but ultimately transformative weeks. May wisdom guide your path, and may you find peace in the pause that Mercury retrograde provides.